What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Cheat Sheet. First one we've all been together for in a while. It's nice.
Let's go.
Marcas Grant here with Michael Florio and LaQuan Jones. Happy Thursday, fellas. We are one step closer to training camp starting. How are we feeling?
It's Friday Junior. Let's go.
It's Friday Junior. I like that.
The weekends are getting very, very short until we don't have them anymore.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I'm back to doing Sirius XM on Saturdays starting this week.
Nice. That means all three of us, but on different shows.
Yeah,
on different shows. You know, one of these days, maybe we should talk to the people in charge over there, and maybe they'll give us our own show together.
Please,
sort of know each other. But yeah, no, the weekends are getting short. The time off is getting short. Football is going to be back before we know it. So we are here as we are. I'm gonna say every Thursday, but not really. A lot of Thursdays. Just sort of fill your ear holes with fantasy football and other nonsense.
Semi-regular.
Semi-regular, right? It's like how a thing used to be like the annual such and such awards, and then like one year they have to stop, and then it just becomes like the 32nd such and such awards. That's kind of what this is right now. Anyway, we got stuff to talk about. We're gonna give some Scott Fishbowl updates because that is going. I should check and see, make sure that I am not currently on the clock. I don't believe I am.
Marcus, you would have lost your mind in my draft yesterday. I told you guys that you get an OTC goes out the minute someone's on the clock.
Yeah.
I'm the only West Coaster in my league, I'm pretty sure, and at like 11:30 last night, so like 2:30 in the morning Eastern, someone got hit with an OTC.
Oh, no way.
No. That's ridiculous.
Chill. Go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not on the clock yet. I'm still 5 picks away.
They'll let you know. You don't even have to check anymore.
Here's the thing. My division has been very chill about this sort of thing, so it's been cool. What's up, Christian? Thanks for popping in. Yeah, we have not had. I think we had one just because I think somebody was like in a meeting or stuck somewhere, and so like the clock ran down to like it got under 4 hours, and then that's when like, hey, by the way, you're on the clock. Yeah. That I'm cool with, right? If you've gone more than half the clock and nothing's happened, then I'm cool with giving somebody a little nudge of a reminder. You don't have to hit them with it as soon as you make your pick. It's fine. They'll figure it out, especially over 8 hours.
I got hit with it yesterday. I clicked it, and it was like 7 hours, 58 minutes, and something seconds. So I was on the clock for less than 2 minutes.
We are all so connected to our phones, probably to our own detriment, that over the course of 8 hours, we will see if we are on the clock for sure. We'll talk about the 49ers wide receiver room, mostly because I just want to make LaQuan have to talk about the 49ers.
Can I paint that picture before you guys fight?
Oh, we know what it's going to be. It's going to be him being salty and like grudgingly admitting, yeah, maybe there's a value there, but then also trying to throw some elbows at the same time because he can't be objective about it.
I can be honest. I'm just blunt honest. I want the team to burn. I hate their fans. Like I don't want to see you guys win. I know
that's fine, but you have to be able to. That's fine. Like okay, but like you still have to be able to like give honest analysis of it.
I do. Jordan Mason is my favorite. Like that was my fantasy baby. Like that's a 49er. That was real. That happened.
I forgot about RB3 here.
Yeah. RB3s don't count.
RB3 here in effect.
His love for RB3s trump his hatred for the 49ers.
Oh, man. We will do a movie today. Land of Bad is what we watch as we continue our dive into Netflix action movies. Diving into Netflix action movies, we watched the 2 Extraction movies with Chris Hemsworth, so it felt like a nice transition to watch a movie starring his brothers. Liam the star, Luke also involved in the movie as well, so the other Hemsworths there. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Quick update, though. So how far are you? I know, LaQuan, you're done. We don't even know your full roster for Scott Fishbowl.
Oh my God, man!
You mentioned like you did 7 picks, although you were sort of half in the bag. You're half in the pool and half in the bag for the first several picks that you made.
Looking for my shoes at one point because somebody knocked them in the pool, and that was just unfortunate. It was just a whole like
slides or like sneakers.
Like my slides, and my socks though. That's why that one picture that you see that I have no socks on because they were soaking wet. And there was an Uber ride to my Airbnb to get more socks. So I had to
Wait,
let him air
how
dry.
many?
It just sucks. You're at the pool. Why do you need socks anyway?
Yeah. Why do you wear socks to the pool?
Because I didn't listen, man. I didn't want to go barefooted with the toes out and stuff. Like I didn't get them pedicured up or nothing like that. Like
I mean, okay,
I don't
but
know.
like once you're at the pool, you don't need socks. Like
yeah,
everybody,
I took them off.
half the people there got rusty feet. Like you don't have to. You don't have to worry about that.
Rusty feet is crazy. My feet
Rusty
ain't rusty.
How many glizzies did you eat?
Oh my god, that is one hell of a question.
Who had more,
glizzies.
you or Troy King? Troy was there, right?
Troy actually got sick from the night before, so he had
Too many
extra rest
glizzies.
early.
Too
Too
many
many glizzies in the belly. Pause.
Too many glizzies. Too many glizzies. Yeah. So quick updates. And I do see some. I see some comments or some questions in the chat. We will get to those. Yeah. Please hang on. We will get to those as well.
We're too busy talking glizzies.
Glizzies. So I'm looking at the ADPs. Right. If you go to fantasylife.com, they have the Scott Fishbowl tool there. The tool that Ryan McDowell created several years ago at this point, which is incredibly accurate, incredibly detailed, updates regularly. It has ADPs. It has who drafted which players, all that sort of stuff. Right now, the number one pick in most leagues is Bijan Robinson.
Yes, let's go.
And that makes
he got
sense.
a great shirt on.
I mean, I didn't plan this, but yeah.
Mustard on the beat. Let's go.
That was totally not planned, but it just sort of worked out that way. I mean, I guess it surprises me a little bit, in the sense that it's a super flex league. I would think that more people would go QB at that top spot.
Yeah,
My league, like barely anyone took. Like there are teams. We're in the 9th round. There are teams with no quarterbacks.
Oh dang!
Wow.
There's one team that has nothing but wide receivers. I very much misread my draft room because I started QB, and then I was like, if I knew everyone was going to draft like this is a 1 QB league, I wouldn't have done that.
Well,
Bijan went 1 in my league too over Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. So
Brock Bowers went 1 in mine.
Brock Bowers. Wow.
That's chasing the format,
Well, that's definitely chasing the format. And I think here's the thing about Scott Fishbowl, because there are so many people and so many divisions, you're going to get basically every permutation of draft strategy I think you can get. And it's so hard, I think, to accurately gauge what your draft room is going to be because you just don't know. I mean, here it is. I'm waiting. We are in round 5 of my division. One team already has 3 quarterbacks.
Wow.
The exact opposite of mine.
Three
I don't think you read the rules.
3 of the first 5 picks are quarterbacks. And so, I mean, they're rocking Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, and their wide receivers are Brian Thomas and Garrett Wilson. Those are their 5 picks.
They didn't even need Bo Nix out of that, but I'm happy they took him though. But I'm just saying.
I mean, Bo Nix is going to get drafted. I mean, it's not like he was going to sit there and wait if this person didn't take him.
He goes undrafted in a super flex league.
Super flex league. Wow. Some of the other picks some of the other guys that are going first, Jamar Chase, no surprise. Saquon, not really a surprise there. Jahmyr Gibbs, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Ashton Genty has gone first. Brock Bowers, which we know what league that is. Brock Bowers went first. Jaden Daniels has gone first. Christian McCaffrey has gone at number 1.
That
my
God.
That surprises
I think that was
me.
Brian Drake, actually. I saw him tweeting about that.
All right.
Wow.
All right. Trey McBride, I see, has gone number 1. And Devon Achane. So I think those are all the guys who have been taken number 1.
I get it.
I guess, but I'm looking at Chase falling to me at 8, and he's going 1. I feel like that's huge value on me.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, no,
Like,
so that's definitely a value for you, for sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So apparently, it was Brian Drake who took CMC at 1.01. That's the other part of this, because it is so hard to win this thing. Sometimes it's just fun to take a wild swing, a big swing. At them. Was it last year? I think Kate Majuk took a kicker number 1.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, that's
I
not going to
remember
work.
Yeah, but I think her logic was, look, man, it's so hard to win. I'm just gonna do something fun, right? Just do something fun, something that people are gonna talk about. Here we are,
punishing.
a year later, still talking about it. So, Yeah. So I'm waiting to get back on the call. So wait, how far are you now, Florio?
I'm 2 picks away from my 9th round pick.
Oh, all right. So I started Lamar Jackson, as I told you guys. I forgot about the 3rd round reversal. I was all set at the end of round 2 to just double back up and take a 3rd round pick, and I hit the pick, and then I'm like, wait, why am I not on the clock again? I'm like, oh, that's right. So I took Drake London.
Happened to be the last guy on the turn.
So I took Drake London at the end of the 2nd round. Had to wait for it to come back around, and after our discussion yesterday, I ended up taking Ladd McConkey and Terry McLaurin. So,
boo.
Why? Who else was I supposed to take?
I don't know, but it just seems too fresh off the fire in the eyes.
But it's also because of the guys that were gone, right? The other receivers I took Drake London, so then the receivers that went ahead of him, Brian Thomas, A.J. Brown, Nico Collins, and so then, McLaurin and McConkey were the 2 best receivers on the board at that point.
Yeah. So I see. Yeah, that's a good price then. And again, it's Scott Fish.
Fishbowl. Fishbowl.
Have fun.
Yeah. All right. But if you want to check out kind of how things are going, what the ADPs are for certain teams or for certain players, rather, go to fantasylife.com, look up their Scott Fishbowl tool. In fact, they may have a link to it right on the front page, if I'm not mistaken. But just, go check it out. In fact, they recently redid their website. It looks great. So shout out to Matthew Berry and the folks over at Fantasy Life for what they put together over there. I want to get to a couple of these questions because we got people, they have concerns.
Run it up.
Matt Bubar, our pal from the network, asking, what do each of you feel about Dobbins in Denver? Is it time to panic if we like RJ Harvey? LaQuan, the floor is yours.
Are you serious? This is a 1-2 punch here. I think I've explained this on previous episodes. Like, this is going to be the Alvin Kamara and the Mark Ingram version of what he has in Denver under Sean Payton. And, I think J.K. Dobbins is more so going to be there to keep the chains moving. He's an efficient runner, yards per carry, great vision, be able to get the first downs, and et cetera. But R.J. Harvey's the explosive back to be the pass catcher of this backfield, to be able to be the PPR giant. That's why I'm taking him in the 5th round. I'm not even blinking or looking any other way. I'm feeling like I'm accomplished when I get him as my RB2, just with so much upside in this offense.
Yeah. You know how I feel about Sean Payton.
He's a liar. I know.
How I feel about how Sean Payton feels about us, I guess.
He's not. Look, he's not worse than Arthur Smith. He is the fantasy streets boogeyman.
I'm not out here caping for Arthur Smith either.
I'm just saying he's not as bad. That's more of a liar. And Sean McVay, he's on that cusp of being a liar with his running backs as well. But we shall see this season.
Yeah.
Dobbins is certainly a bigger threat than anyone that was on the roster. I have lowered RJ Harvey in my I still like Harvey. I was big on him before the draft process and stuff. During the draft process, but J.K. Dobbins gives Sean Payton the option to pull Sean Paytonisms now. Before that, I don't think they had another back that he could do. So I still like RJ Harvey, but I do think we should get a little bit of a I have him amongst the rookies. I have him behind Hampton. I have him behind Travion Henderson now, and prior to the Dobbins signing, that might have been a little different.
Yeah, I do think we can chill on the Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin conversation now. Hey man, look, Sean Payton was out here hyping up Audric Estime about a month ago, right? So back to my point about Sean McVay or Sean Payton rather. Sometimes he's a liar and the truth is not in him. At least when it comes to player usage, and he doesn't like us. Z Ralsty wants to know our thoughts on Kyle Williams.
Oh, that's a Florio question.
All right. How do you feel?
I really like him. I loved him as a prospect. And I do want to say he's very good at certain things. He is phenomenal at turning screens into long plays, and he is really good at stretching the field. The intermediate portion of the field, which I believe is the hardest area for a wide receiver to find consistent success. He needs some work there. But yeah, I think he could be a really good best ball player who has the potential. I'm throwing a lot of late round darts on him because I do think he has the potential to break out. I'm not telling you he's going to be a week 1 slam dunk or anything like that. But I do think with him and Drake May and stuff like that, there's the potential for a lot of big plays in this offense.
Yeah, I've done multiple Drake May, Kyle Williams stacks in best ball. Just because of
cheap.
what the price is. Yeah, what the price is and what the potential upside is. Like, it's worth the squeeze to try that. I would think in redraft leagues, he's sort of a draft and stash sort of thing. See kind of what happens there. Yeah, he's kind of a watch list guy. Like, you could probably even wait. He may even be on the waiver wire. I think in a lot of leagues, he'll be on the waiver wire. So it's a guy to keep your eye on. And, if after, whatever, couple weeks of the preseason or week 1 or 2 of the regular season, it looks like there's some life there, I think you could probably go pick him up. So, yeah, I think there's upside. Just don't go crazy with it at this point.
Still a Patriots player at the end of the day.
Look, we'll see now that Bill Belichick's out of the building. He's been out of the building for a couple of years. We'll see if they get better at scouting that position.
He has his little
blind spot.
Wounds in the building.
That's true.
Last year, they didn't even bother.
That is true.
We were just like, all right, we're going with whatever wide receivers we got.
Well, look, we remember we tried to be excited about like Javon Baker and those guys last year, and like that didn't work.
The answer was Hunter Henry.
Yeah,
sadly,
that wasn't even a great answer, right? It was not even a great answer. It was, Demario Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, still kind of leading the way. Question from Christian Rogers: should we be worried about a running back committee in the Chargers' backfield? I am concerned.
Yes.
I think you should be a little concerned. Yeah. I think what they're putting together for that offense, they bring in Najee Harris, and I think it's going to be sort of similar to what we saw with the Steelers, right? I think that's kind of how it's split. Both guys will be okay, not great, just because of usage. I think we should definitely be concerned about it.
I think Hampton's going too high. Like, I think by the time August comes around, he's going to be way too high for me to be interested. Because, we already spoke about RJ Harvey. I rather Harvey than Hampton of where these guys are going close in ADP. Like, that's a no-brainer for me because I think Najee's going to be that thorn in the side, and it's going to be in all areas of the field.
Yeah.
I don't love taking Najee, but he's going late.
He's an RB3, RB4 at best, So it's like I'll take that as a flex, if he pops in and has a good game or two.
I caused a little bit of a ruckus on Twitter a couple weeks ago, but I pointed out that Hampton has to deal with Najee, who this current regime brought in. Harvey has to deal with Dobbins, who this current regime brought in. But then there's Travion Henderson, who has to deal with Ramondre Stevenson, who was from the old regime. I think that matters. Like, I think the fact that a new team, new coaching staff came in and we're like, we're going to use one of our top picks on a running back. To me, that signals that, like, they want to move on at that position.
Yeah. I think so. I think there's less commitment to a guy who's already been there, right? If you're a new coaching staff and you weren't necessarily, although with the Patriots, again, just because, as you mentioned, LaQuan, it's sort of Belichick's minions. Like, is it different that way? It's like, well, hey, Bill brought this guy in, and Bill, sort of groomed him and gave him a spot. Then maybe we'll give him the opportunity. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here.
With Stevenson, he was the backup when Josh McDaniel was there, and then when he left, that's when Stevenson kind of became the starter over Damian Harris. So, like, I don't know. I know I'm kind of using context clues here and stuff, but to me, it tells me
that's all we got, man.
Yeah, they want Henderson to be the guy. If he, like, Ramondre's a really nice fallback option, but if Henderson is who we think he is, I expect him to see.
He has less of a threat than most of the rookie running backs because Stevenson, the fumble issues, the explosiveness, and I do feel like the old regime is basically done and watched with Ramondre Stevenson. He was benched for Antonio Gibson last year, So I do get the logic of Travion Henderson having less of a threat, but we could say the same thing with RJ Harvey with J.K. Dobbins' health. I'm just saying, I'm going to campaign for RJ Harvey until week 18, where we're going to be saying RJ Harvey's a top 10 running back.
Who do you think leads them in? Look, catches alone, he could get him there, but who do you think leads that team in goal line carries? Is it Harvey? Is it Dobbins? Is it Nix? Is it one of the other running backs? Because that's what we got to worry about.
That we don't have answers to today. I will cop out of that.
All right. We'll get back to your questions in just a little bit. Wanted to kind of turn our attention to the 49ers wide receiver room because it was a topic that came up at the end of the
Look at Florio.
podcast on Tuesday because he just wants to see a fight. Like, I'm just going to tell you that I'm just going to sit and listen to LaQuan and just take everything he says with a grain of salt.
So in like ADP right now though, Jawan Jennings is like in the late 30s at wide receivers. You get Ricky Pearsall, who's at somewhere in the 40s, like usually early, and then you get Brandon Ayuk, who's in the like after the top 50 wide receivers. I know that's health related and stuff, but feels like they're all really good values to me. But I am ready for you to just eviscerate them, LQ.
Yeah. So how about let's just get this part out of the way so then we can actually have a productive conversation. So
I'll be quick.
Talk about how, all three of these dudes should, play on the Golden Gate Bridge during rush hour traffic or something like that. Like just get it out of your system now and then we'll have a real conversation.
It's not even like that. Like, again, I want to be objective. I want to be truthful and honest, but I do feel like, Ricky Pearsall, he's getting a little bit of too much of hype off of very little sample size that we've gotten. I haven't seen anything that, from the college tape that we've seen of him being this standout wide receiver 3 or 4. Like, there's a chance that he could end up being like the 4th target of this offense, when Brandon Ayuk comes back. But I like Jawan Jennings more than drafting Brandon Ayuk just based on that first 6 to 7 games that we saw Ayuk and Jennings kind of existing. Even with one less game, Jennings still had the same amount of receptions. He had more yards. He was very productive and efficient with his opportunities where Brandon Ayuk had that slow start because he was holding out. So I'm supposed to be led to believe that, even if I take Brandon Ayuk as a wide receiver 4 or 5, very late, outside the top 50, I feel like it's a wasted pick because he's coming back with a timetable, most likely a month of football already past him, and then probably like October. Like, we look at the 7 weeks that he had last season, he had no touchdowns. I mean, Brock Purdy was terrible when targeting him. He had a 53% completion percentage, which was the lowest percentage out of the pass catchers. So I feel like there's a disconnect there now. And now when he's coming back from injury, it's going to have to be waiting until we get to the fantasy playoffs, where I don't like drafting like that anymore, guys. Jonathan Brooks has scarred me. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to sit there and hope for the playoff blow up, And like, when you look at Jawan Jennings and what he brings to the offense, it's versatility. And I think that's a lot different from with Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall and et cetera, because he was the most efficient slot wide receiver last year, folks, and that includes your boy Lad McConkey over there, Florio, with a 2.9 yards per route run for all the analytical nerds out there that cares about that. But I'm just saying facts. Jawan Jennings looked the best playmaker on that 49ers offense, and look, MG, I know you remember that Rams game, week 3 earlier in the season, where he had 175 yards. We still won the game. We still won the game, though.
Third and Jawan was a real thing. Third and Jawan was a real thing for the last few years. It hasn't. Look, remember 2 years ago, there was a stretch of about 10, 15 game minutes when it looked like Jawan Jennings might be a Super Bowl MVP, right? Like, I mean, it looked that way for a while. So I think Jawan Jennings is a playmaker on this offense. I think people are a little too scared of the Brandon Ayuk thing. Last year was bad.
Agreed.
There's no way around it. Last year was just bad.
Garbage.
There was the holdout. There was him on on IG or like live streaming with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
There was all these rumors about, is he going to go to Washington? Is he going to reunite with his college buddy? Then he finally shows up in camp. He hadn't really worked out. He looked out of shape. Then he gets hurt after something. Like, everything about last year was bad. The injury is a little bit of a concern, and the rehab and the timeline for that. But knowing that he's at least playing, even if he's not playing, for a 49er future, he is still playing for a future somewhere. And when he is right, Brandon Ayuk is still incredibly talented. I said back in 2022, before that season started, that he had surpassed Deebo Samuel at that point to be the wide receiver number 1 in that offense. 2 years ago, he gave you 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. The year before that, 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. When he is motivated, and I think he is motivated, again, if not to show out for the 49ers, but to show out for the 31 other teams that might take a chance on him, I just think him being wide receiver 51 right now is everybody playing scared. At least when it comes to drafts. I think it's everybody playing scared.
I'm with MG on this one because 2 years ago, Brandon Ayuk had maybe the most efficient wide receiver season in NFL history. Like, he had the most yards ever for the amount of targets he saw. So I know last year was bad, but we can't just like Men in Black 2 years ago either and just act like that never happened. So to me, he is being drafted way closer to his floor than his ceiling. And even if the first few weeks, like, you don't have to draft him as a starter, and there's no buys or anything like that the first few weeks of the season. So even if he's not out there, and I think it's a possibility he's out there week 1 because he tore it in October. So like, he could be out there week 1. Even if he's not, though, like, I don't need him week 1. So I tend to see him as upside that you're not like, if he jumps 10 spots higher in the wide receiver rankings, then I'm going to be like, yeah, now he's getting pulled up too much. But I've been taking him all summer, and I think all of the 49ers are values because Jawan Jennings is that volume play. I mean, he didn't have 1,000 yards last year as their top target, but like, so to me, I think Jennings is more of a safer floor type of play than he is ceiling. And I think Ricky Pearsall's kind of in the middle of that. Like, Ricky Pearsall led this wide receiver room in success rate last season, and I think he's very versatile where he could play out wide at times. He could play in the slot at times. Like, he's like a chess piece that Kyle Shanahan could use. And again, the best part is, like, he's not a top 40 wide receiver, so I'm not drafting him as a starter, you know? Or if I am, maybe I'm drafting him as like a flex option, something like that. But, I mean, we have seen more really good years out of this 49ers offense than bad. So in last year and in the past, we're taking these guys as top 20 wide receivers. None of these guys are going top 35. To me, I think it's a buying opportunity.
Dude, we've given you guys 30 years. You still haven't caught us in Super Bowl titles. What are you doing?
Oh my God.
We've taken a 30-year
You
break.
heard that?
Taken a 30-year break from winning Super Bowls. You still haven't caught us.
But listen, you guys made it to the big dance, but didn't leave with the hottest chick, man, which is the ring. So, the prom king out here, man. We got the ring in 2021, first year.
Remember that time the Rams scored 3 points in a Super Bowl?
No, I don't.
The worst Super Bowl I've ever watched.
The worst Super Bowl in history. The Rams were on one side of it.
And that is why Jared Goff got shipped, okay? Yep. That is exactly why he ended up
I heard he talks a lot of ish during the quarterback doc about the Rams.
He's a crybaby, man. Get over it. It is what it
crybaby,
is.
or is he a crybaby, or did you guys just treat him badly? Like,
he treated his opportunity badly, man. I hated that 2019 season. I hated it.
All right. You guys thought he was cute enough to draft.
You made the Super Bowl, right? Like,
thought he looked good enough to draft the number 1 overall. I'm just saying.
He's a Fisher guy, not a McVay guy. Let's get that clear.
I'm just saying.
McVay has no loyalty to him.
All right. Anyway, yeah, Ricky Pearsall, I would say, of this group is maybe the hardest to figure out. Just because, he was up and down last year in sort of limited opportunities. He also was coming off getting shot at the beginning of the season, before the season started. I don't think you can discount something like that. He will be helped by the lack of Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. I also think it's like the way I draft, I'm taking wide receivers early. So when I get to this portion of the draft, I've usually spent the last couple of picks at like running back or tight end or something. So I'm like, I have like usually like 3 really good wide receivers at this point, maybe even 4. And now I'm looking for upside, and I think the 4. But like, if you draft the opposite and you're sitting there and you're thin at wide receiver, then you might not want to roll the dice on. Like, you might be like, hey, Khalil Shakir is in this range and he's safe or something like that. But yeah. So to me, maybe it's just the way I build teams, but I do often find myself being like, it's hard to pass up some of these 49ers wide receivers.
I do think roster construction matters when you're looking at 49er wide receivers, just because I think Ricky Pearsall especially, I think you get a little more stability with a healthy Ayuk and with Jawan Jennings. But Pearsall is the one where I want to make sure I've got some other guys to some other guys to back me up, just in case.
Where
this
he's
one doesn't turn out
going,
right.
like I'd rather pivot to a Jacoby Myers. I'd rather pivot to the Debo Samuel over there, in Washington. Like that's the range of where he's going at that time where we handled
I'd rather Ricky
first 2 and 3. Why though? Like I can't pull the trigger on it because it's like there's still good wide receivers going behind him that have proven talent or having proven upside.
I think I'd take Ricky over Debo.
Yeah, me too. I don't ever consider Debo.
I mean, just again, I think you talk about men in blacking the Ayuk season from 2 years ago. I think whatever the reverse of the Men in Black is, where like it just sticks in your head,
bleach in the eye.
I mean, that's what the 2021 season has become. I think for a lot of people is like, yeah, man, he was amazing in 2021. He had 1,400 receiving yards. He had 8 rushing touchdowns. Like
He was
I think
also
that's
paid.
the thing. I think that's I don't think getting paid is what caused the decline, because if you look at all the other seasons around that one, they're all kind of similar. Like that's the one outlier season that he had. I mean, I just come back to he did a lot of the dirty work for the Niners offense. He was very good for real football. He was just kind of meh in fantasy football.
He had 81 targets last year for the Niners and finished with 670 yards. Ricky turned 46 targets into 400 yards. So like I'd argue he was performing better just on a limited role last year. And it was such a weird rookie season, like you said, MG.
Yeah.
Up and down, yeah.
So, anyway, I think this was fun. We can dive into some more wide receiver rooms.
I was objective. I was fine.
You were objective. I would know what I will give you your flowers on this one. You put your biases aside.
I like some players. I just hate the team and fans. That's all. But MG, you're the outlier. There's like 3 people I know that are 49ers fans that are okay, like that are normal. Like
I don't dislike teams anymore. I just dislike fan bases. That's how I am nowadays.
You know what? I feel like doing this job, and especially being on social media, you start to dislike fan bases because you hear from people.
You got that, Indiana Pacers?
Somewhere a chill just went down Tyrese Halliburton's back. Like I have no idea.
He's not thinking about me at all.
He is not.
He's like the Thanos meme.
Get back to a couple of questions here. This one from I Am Corey saying, "What is your prediction for Bo Nix this season in fantasy?" Is this your burner, LaQuan? What is this?
No, absolutely not.
And
people are getting excited about Nick's tape, man.
And will Ashton Jonty finish in the top 3 running backs? So the second one, I'm going to say no. I don't think Jonty finishes top 3.
That's bold.
The Raiders just aren't going to score enough points.
I think it's in the range of outcomes, but it's not the most likely.
The most likely. Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah, it could happen. I just don't think the Raiders score enough points for it to be.
I find myself taking Derrick Henry over Ashton Genty a lot. Like I just smash it because that's like proven upside of where he can legit finish as a top 5. Like Genty,
that's mildly caliente. Like that's not super spicy, but it's mildly hot.
In my last rankings update, I put Genty behind Achane and Henry.
All right.
So Gibbs, Saquon, Bijan, 3, 2, 1.
Bijan, Gibbs, Saquon, Achane, Henry, Genty. I think Bijan's going video game numbers this year.
Yeah, I think people are starting to come back to earth on Jonty a little bit, right? Like everybody was super hyped, and then draft season opened, and people were kind of getting crazy with it. And I think everybody's kind of stopped and like, okay, let's exhale a little bit.
I blame the draft analysts for that. There's always an overlap after April where people have that draft analyst stuck in their head, and then they realize like, I can't take Genty over Derrick Henry or Achane. Right. Like that sounds crazy.
And you got Bo Nix, what, top 8?
Top 6. Top 6.
All right. Okay, so then obviously we know your answer to this question, LaQuan, about JJ McCarthy or Bo Nix.
I mean, JJ's going so late. Like I do like waiting on JJ in like the 12th round, in one quarterback leagues.
This is an easy call. It's like, I don't think I've drafted JJ McCarthy. Like I'm willing to draft Justin Jefferson. I'm willing to still take a swing at TJ Hawkinson. So I don't know why I don't want JJ McCarthy, but I just don't.
I don't mind him as a QB2. I would never want him as my 1.
Mm-hmm. I was on a podcast recently as a guest where the host I think mostly jokingly, but maybe with a tinge of seriousness, referred to J.J. McCarthy as a god tier quarterback. I think it was. I'm gonna say it was like 95% joking, but 5%.
I think
like,
I can
what
guess
was
who
Sam
the host
Darnold?
was.
But
we'll do that often.
Yeah. So that part. Let's see. Will Mike Williams hit us all with the Undertaker meme in fantasy this season? No.
Mike
It's
Williams.
I loved Mike Williams for a while. I think it's over.
I mean, I just think he sort of is who he is.
He's a danger to himself. Every time he tries to catch a ball, he hurts himself. Like, jeez.
A danger to himself.
He tore his ACL and then couldn't jump past like Alan Lazard in the and like other bad Jet receivers for.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna.
He had a
happen.
touchdown though.
He also got blamed for a loss after Aaron Rodgers threw a pick and was like, "It's on Mike Williams."
That's right.
Terrible teammate moment.
Which, by the way, good luck with that, DK Metcalf. Good luck. Good luck on that. Braden wants to know, I need thoughts on Jacoby Myers and Chuba Hubbard, 2 studs I had last year. Want to go after them again, but I don't know if they're going to have the same type of production. I
like
think
Jacoby.
Chuba can give you something similar to what he did last year.
He
You
could.
know
I
what?
find
Honestly,
myself a little hesitant when it comes to him, though.
Yeah.
What a sexy pick. I would
can't
rather
say that I
Chuba over
drafted
Isaiah Pacheco though.
Really?
That could
I'd
be a
rather.
conversation.
I gotta look how I have that ranked, but I love me some Pacheco.
I think I'd rather have Pacheco. I think the thing to worry about with Chuba Hubbard is the 10 touchdowns. Or he had 11 total, 10 rushing, 1 receiving. I think that's the thing to sort of worry about. Is
Rico Dowdle isn't a great running back, but he's competent.
He's
better than Miles Sanders and whatever else was backing him up before Jonathan Brooks was available. You know.
Yeah.
He had 43 catches last year though, and that's a huge jump from like Rico Dowdle. I mean,
I have
feel
Pacheco ahead of Chuba.
Yeah.
How far? How far? It has to
4
be
spots
close.
apart.
Nah, that's not bad. I'm not gonna argue that.
He was like ready to be upset. He was ready to be mad.
It is a lot of names in that area that you like though, like Mixon, Harvey.
Oh, Mixon's a dog. I always love when people doubt Mixon because Mixon's going to have 300 and something touches and he's going to have a bunch of targets. And I don't think people actually like understand like Mixon is still like a really good running back out of that backfield. Explosiveness, elusiveness. He's hard to bring down. Like the goal line carries is his. There's no backup. Like it's just playing itself out for a high-end RB2.
I don't think that's the argument against Joe Mixon. I don't think it's the week to week. And last year he was a little bit more consistent, although the back half of the season was bad. The last 5 or 6 games were not good.
He was not a playoff hero.
For Joe
He's
Mixon.
he's 29. That's where my concern comes in.
I just don't know. You know, we all love the big 35-point spike weeks that he gives you, but then he'll follow it up with like 4.5. Like that's the problem.
Players mess up.
Remember that one year where he was top 10, but if you took away that like 60-point game, he was like RB 28 or something like that.
You can't take away that game. It happened. He did it.
But I mean, you can't take away that game, but you also play more than 1 week, right? So like it's one of those things where he was a league winner. He was a week winner that 1 week, and then every other week he was sort of meh. But when you look at the end of the season, you're like, if you Men in Black, right? You're like, oh yeah. Joe
I like
Mixon
that this is just our new thing now.
It's just a new thing now. Like, we should try to make it a segment, right? We get but if you take that away, if you forget about all that, you look and you're like, oh yeah, Joe Mixon was a top 10 running back, forgetting about like all the weeks when he was like RB 27, right? Like you just forget about that.
We had it on Fantasy Live. I think it was like a weekly thing where we'd be like, here's his stats if you take away 1 game. And like, it was such a big difference. Yeah, but that's what Mixon is, right? Like he's going to have a game like that at some point this year. He'll score 4 touchdowns or something like that.
Right.
He had 7 100-yard games last year. Like I will take that over other guys that we're hoping to get 4. Like he gets the targets, he gets the opportunities. Like I'm always going to buy in on Mixon no matter what.
All right. DG wants to know: is there ever any logical reason to draft a QB in the 2nd round in a 10-man league? No.
I don't play enough 10-man, so I'm just going to say no.
I mean, it's not something we like to do in 12 team. because
Right.
you can get good values late. So like
Third is probably like the earliest.
for me in 12, I'll go third. I think in 10, I would even push it.
Yeah, I'd probably push. I push it like 4 or 5 in a 10-man league.
Because what is it? It's
10-team
Lamar,
league.
Josh Allen, and Jaden Daniels probably going in that third, I would think.
In 12-team leagues, yeah.
Yeah.
In a 10-team league, you could get like Bo Nix and Justin Fields if you want, and you're sitting
And
pretty.
eat.
Like,
Right.
Yeah, like, oh my God.
Yeah, so the answer to that is a resounding no from
No.
the three of us. So, all right. Thanks for the questions,
the
everybody.
part everyone
Appreciate you.
really came for.
Right? And this is what everybody wants to hear about us talk about a mediocre Netflix action movie starring Liam Hemsworth. Which was this? So was it on the pod or was it after the pod, Florio, when you admitted that you did not know that Liam and Chris Hemsworth were brothers? I don't know. If
I
that
don't
actually
know.
made the show.
It was either right before we ended or right after. I don't. But I had no idea that yesterday I put the movie on and I said to Nicolette, I was like, "Did you know they're brothers?" And she was like, "How did you not?"
So after we watched Extraction 1 and 2 starring Chris Hemsworth, we decided let's watch his little brother, Liam, try to be an action star in Land of Bad. The premise of the movie is that he is basically a drone operator. His job is to go out with a group of Marines, and he's the one who calls in the drone strikes. They are trying to retrieve another captured agent. I don't know if it's CIA agent, field agent, what have you. They're trying to retrieve one who has been captured by a group of terrorists. They didn't say where. They're somewhere in the jungles somewhere. I'm not even sure if they.
I think it's Guantanamo Bay or something like that.
They're not in Cuba. No, I don't know where they are.
The caption, because I had closed caption
really-
on and it kept
it's really
saying speaking
small.
Filipino.
Yeah, so maybe
yeah.
they were in the Philippines somewhere. That's right. They did say a lot of that. So they go to try and retrieve their lost agent. Things go badly, and poor Liam Hemsworth is on his own to try and escape. But of course, that doesn't go smoothly either.
No.
Mayhem, hijinks ensue. And Russell Crowe gets angry a few times.
Thick Russell Crowe.
He was the best part of the movie in my opinion.
was.
Yep. As to
Shout out Reaper.
Mr. Scamper's question, yes, Luke Hemsworth is also related. He is Luke Hemsworth is actually the oldest brother.
He's the one that died.
He dies
like 10 minutes
Right.
into the movie.
He dies fairly
Which I was
early.
shocked. I told Sabrina, I was like, that's his brother.
Yeah.
How you gonna
He was
kill
legit
him?
upset because he's like, you're taking like. I know in the movie he's like, oh, my friend died, but in real life he was like, you're taking money from my brother.
He dies fairly early. He is the oldest of them. Chris is the middle brother, and Liam is the youngest of the three. Just so you have that all ready to go. So LaQuan, you as soon as you logged on, the first thing you said was, "I have thoughts." So I would like to hear your thoughts on this film.
Well, one, I was annoyed at the Colonel. Like, I hate Tennessee basketball, college basketball now because of that guy. I was
didn't
so
know you had-
annoyed.
I didn't know you had feelings about Tennessee basketball.
Listen, I was just so annoyed. I was like, this game is not that important. And what tournament lasts is this long? Like, I didn't even know if the day went by or like I lost the sense of the plot in the movie that they had to rescue somebody, by the way. Like when they at the end found the guy in the cage, I'm thinking that's his other boy, and he's like, oh, this is the agent that we're supposed to be. Like, there was never no like.
Yeah, I had no idea who that guy was.
Like, no, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, there's always tragedy, like every step of the way. Like, it was just a mediocre movie at best, but I'm just like, I probably won't watch this again. Like, I just won't.
Oh no, I don't think I'll ever see this movie again.
Yes, with the loud shirt.
Thick with like 4 C's. It's a golf glove that he's wearing. I was trying to figure like, why is he wearing a glove? Halfway through the movie, he put the glove on, and I'm like, I don't know what this glove is about. Why he's wearing it? Is he trying to keep his hand moisturized? I don't understand. It's a golf glove. Now that I see,
He has the glove on the wrong hand. My man got 8 kids.
He kind of
and
looks like
one
John
on the way.
Goodman in this.
He does kind of look like
in
John
this
Goodman.
role.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the guy in the chair. He was the one sort of operating the drone, and he pushed the button to fire the missiles whenever they needed it. There were a lot of things in this movie that they like touched on but never paid off. The biggest one being Russell Crowe's wife is pregnant, right? He's like
His 9th kid.
his ninth kid, she's like about to go into labor like any moment now, right? Like there's this tension of like, here I am, I'm trying to like get these soldiers out of harm's way, but also I need all these other guys to listen for the phone ringing because my wife might go into labor. I'm gonna have to go, and like nothing ever really happens.
She never has the kid.
The whole point of that was just so they don't pick up the phone during the game. That was it. Like
that's how that was written in. Yeah.
Like
terrible.
I was just like this
terrible.
Is, it's like the theory of in storytelling what they say, Chekhov's gun, right? Like the whole theory being if you introduce a gun in a story, like at some point it has to go off, right? You build that tension, eventually the gun goes off. Like that's sort of what I felt like with the pregnancy, right? Like they made a big deal about like it's gonna happen any moment now. She's gonna call. Be sure to answer the phone. And like the closest we got was like him at the store buying vegan cheese. Like that was it.
They hated vegans.
Wow, he's getting tortured. Yeah,
they hated vegans.
Whoever wrote this movie must have like dated a vegan and the relationship went bad or something. Like this movie crapped all over vegans.
Every other line was like, worse, she's vegan. Like,
like just ripping on vegans like for no real reason.
There was numerous times I was like, did I miss something? Because like all of a sudden we jumped to a completely new scene, and like I rewound and I was, oh no, this just happened.
No, this
like,
just happened.
Him shopping for cheese, Liam getting tortured in a dungeon somewhere. Like that's literally what the scenes were flip-flopping back.
They also pull a Fast and the Furious. Because in the Fast and the Furious at one point they drop like a nuke and Dom stands between two like chargers and nothing touches him. Liam Hemsworth just goes down into a bathtub as the entire caves explode, and then he just pops right out.
He's in a cold plunge, and everything is okay. Hey, our pal D-Bro jumped in, man. What's up, D-Bro? How you doing, fella?
What's up?
What's up? Good to see you here.
What up, bro?
What are your thoughts on Land of Bad?
Yeah, we're talking about
No
Land
pun
of
intended.
Bad, action movie from Netflix, because this is the portion of the stream where we just talk about movies. Hopefully we see you in Canton. For the expo. Look forward to catching up with you there if you were going to be there this year. Yeah, I did laugh at that Liam Hemsworth goes down into a cold plunge and escapes a major explosion, bombs dropping on caves sort of thing.
Also, his hands stayed out of the tub, but his hands were fine.
His hands were fine.
I was like, what is this?
It's
Wait, was that his tooth that came out after he got hit in the face with the hammer?
He got hit in the face with a hammer and his tooth popped out.
I couldn't even tell what that was. It didn't look like a tooth.
Yeah, it was a tooth. It was
like, what the heck was that?
But for all the things that were sort of sketchy and kind of ridiculous, none was more ridiculous than the final sequence where Liam Hemsworth, Sergeant Kinney, is trying to call for help, right? Like, we're escaping, but we need you to call off the airstrike. It's coming. And they put on the clock 1 minute and 49 seconds. Russell Crowe is in line at the grocery store. And somehow in 1 minute and 48 seconds, because he gets there with 1 second to spare, he goes from being in the grocery store to jumping in his car to driving to CENTCOM.
And there's delays. Like, he's sitting in the car waiting for the fence to open and stuff. Like,
wait, you're telling me he did this in like just over 90 seconds?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about? Yes. Russell Crowe grabbing vegan products in the store 1 second and then saving a life. Like literally he's asking about like cashew, plant-based, vegan, something cheese. And in 1 minute and 40 gets to CENTCOM, busts in the room, gets on the mic and says, abort, which the fact that the pilot somehow was able to just not hit the button, like, in that instant.
In a split second.
Second, and just keep flying. That's when I was like, all right, man. Like, yeah.
I also love that
you would have been
only the commander is a Tennessee fan, but everyone in that room is invested as if they are on the team. Like, they're like, yeah, we can't talk right now. Tennessee's on. And like, I'm like, you have a huge mission going on. Like, it's crazy.
Huge, crazy.
Basketball ain't that great.
I did love, by the way, 2 Australian actors pretending that they were from Ohio.
You did.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe and Liam Hemsworth talking all about being from Ohio and talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes and this and that. I'm like,
when Reaper's like, Ohio State just lost, and he's like, you trying to make me more sad? And like,
like, yeah, man, no, you guys should be talking about like footy, right? And like, I'm being super,
The one thing I thought was kind of
Fighting
cool
kangaroos.
is they used actual NCAA tournament footage for
They
that.
did.
Like
They
that was
did.
kind of interesting to me.
That was kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Usually it's like a generic jersey, like barely able to make a layup.
or it's like, or sometimes they'll use real footage, but like it'll be blurred, or like the TV's so far away that you can't really tell what it is, sort of thing. So
They had a zoom up on it. Like at one point, it was only like if you walked in, you'd be like, "Oh, you're watching college basketball."
right, exactly. So, yeah, I think we're all agreed. Like this is the only time we're gonna ever see this movie. Probably. Right?
It's not Extraction, man. Like I would rewatch Extraction.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford. You know what happened was like this was like a bunch of stuff they got left on the writers' room floor for Extraction. They were like, "Yeah, why don't we just run it back with your little brother?"
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know if we never picked another movie yet, have we?
I won't be here
not
next
from the
Thursday,
Hemsworth.
so
Oh, all right. Is it out yet? Is Extraction 3 out yet?
No,
And also-
I don't think it is.
And also, John Berthal is actually in it. Because if John Berthal is in it, then I'm
Oh, that's
for
gonna
sure
be
there.
sick.
Then I'm for sure there.
Idris Elba too as like the bad guy.
Is he the bad
yeah,
guy?
I'm excited for 3.
He's super sketchy. He's
I mean, he's
super
definitely
sketchy. in two.
sketchy. If I can make a suggestion here, the Old Guard. I know the Old Guard 2 just came out, but the first Old Guard, which I believe is Charlize Theron. Debro being shocked that there's a third Extraction. Yep.
Not yet.
It hasn't been released yet. We just keep hearing that it's it's due sometime in 2025, which they're running out of year, right? I mean, we're midway through July. So
Do you think the Hemsworth brothers get together and discuss like? Then they had me like fly through 6 buildings and shoot someone midair, like.
right, I was saying this though, like Tyler Rake clears Sergeant Kinney by miles.
There's no Rake would have had everyone out of there alive and well in 10 minutes.
And been home for lunch.
Yeah. His dog wouldn't miss a meal. Never
Like-
does.
He could have seen the second half of the Tennessee game for sure. He could have caught the second half of Tennessee. That's all I know. If
Why are we
Tyler
sending
Rake
in
was
whole
there.
teams so we could send in one dude
Just
to get the job done?
Send in Tyler Rake, and there it is.
Can never die.
That is my soldier movie. Yeah, Debro saying my soldier movie was better than your soldier movie. I got shot and lived.
Havoc. We watched Havoc, right?
We did watch Havoc.
Havoc, yeah.
Was so much gun. So much gun.
I think I liked Havoc more than Land of Bad.
Yeah.
Oh, is it making the rankings though? Havoc's definitely above that.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I would put the 2 Extractions, then Havoc, then Land of Bad.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't know if
Last
we've
Action
watched
Hero.
any other movies.
Last
or not.
Action Hero is way
Yeah, that's,
better than Land of Bad.
The other part, the other thing before we get out of here, the one thing I mentioned, apparently there's something about the Hemsworth boys jumping off of waterfalls, right? Because Chris did that in Extraction. Remember when he sat underneath the water and just was meditating under the water, and then
That was a
Liam
cool
had to
shot.
jump off a waterfall. You know how hard that is? Did he have rocks in it? So I was on vacation. I was in San Diego, and we had some pool time at the hotel we were at, and I did try to just sit on you float off the bottom of the.
You really
swimming
tried to
pool.
do the Extraction.
I mean, I
You
did
have
for a
to-
second. I was like, all right. I had some rocks in my
Blow
pocket.
all the air out of your lungs, and then you won't float as much. But then you also have no air in your lungs, and
Right.
you start panicking. So
I will
Yeah,
not be trying this.
I really did try that, and I'm like, Chris Hemsworth is full of crap. So, yeah. So there you go.
CGI.
I also love though. One in this movie, they were the worst shooters in the world. But then he jumps in the waterfall, and they just give up. They're like, "Oh well, he must be gone forever now." Like,
There's no way he could
It's the
survive
reverse
that.
Havoc. Reverse Havoc. We saved the bullets in this movie.
Yeah.
they start throwing them at him. Like,
Yeah. Well, Land of Bad. Thanks for your service.
Pretty bad.
But we're not coming back to that one. We will be back on Tuesday though for another podcast. I don't know. We're gonna talk about something. I'm gonna pull back the curtain. We don't really plan super far in advance. We'll talk. We'll talk on
I won't
Monday.
be here. That's all you guys need to know next Thursday.
Usually what happens is that on Monday, we send out a text like, hey, what do you guys want to talk about? And then that's how the rundown gets formed. So we'll be back on Tuesday with another show. We appreciate all y'all hanging out in the chat. We appreciate all of you guys participating. Always a fun time. But that'll do it for this edition of the Fantasy Cheat Sheet. Stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good and live well. For LaQuan, for Florio, for producer Gavin. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.